Live from the Motor City, all the way to the Volunteer State. It's time for the Reckless Speculation Podcast, where we recklessly speculate the latest news in the world of sports. From college football to NASCAR, we've got you covered. And don't forget to stick around for the world-famous Bet Your Nuts, where we will give you your best bets to make the most money. Now sit back, grab your favorite drink of choice, and join Robbie Davis, Raj Mehta, Brandon Chain, and Tom Sloan. It's showtime.
Welcome, everyone, to Reckless Speculation. It is January the 22nd. We are officially in those months that are hard to spell. Don't like them. January, February, get me all freaked out about how I spell them. Much more of a March through December kind of guy. But welcome to the podcast. It's been a while. We have had some work schedules. By we, I mean Tom, that have been interfering with some stuff. But we are back tonight, and we are a lot to dive into. We have the obnoxious Ohio State fan with his worthless nuts around his neck. We're going to talk about the college football playoff, what we like, dislike, what it's like to be a champion. Seems like Ohio State wins it every time there's a new format. We are going to talk about the NFL playoffs, who on the other side of the spectrum, Tom went from his high last year to a disappointment this year. And then we're going to talk about the NFL Championship Sunday, which is shaping up to be a great weekend. But before we get to that, Tom, how's it going?
Hey, it's great to be back. I know we've kind of bounced ideas back and forth, but it just could never get it right. But here we are, -1, of course. Mr. Raj, but he'll be able to join us, I think, next week. But glad to be back. And we'll talk about my Lions and my experience of being at Ford Field last week for that disappointing game. But back and better than ever. I'm excited to get going tonight.
And spoiler alert, Raj isn't late today. He's in this this outskirt city called Atlanta. I guess there's nothing out there. I don't know exactly what's happening.
Raj in Atlanta. That could be scary.
No internet.
Hey, Raj, you gonna make it tonight? No, I'm in Atlanta. Well, what does that mean exactly? But anyway, Brandon, fresh off a championship, how are you doing?
Doing great, man. It's been a great last few days for sure. A lot of texts, a lot of phone calls, a lot of congratulations from not so happy fans, but still friends. So it's been nice.
Well, let's get straight to it. Aside from Tennessee baseball in the spring, which I don't really follow, in my adult life, I've never had a team win a championship. We talked about Tom with this last year with Michigan winning it. Now the other Big Ten power, Ohio State, won it. What was it like watching the game? It started off looking fantastic, like the Falcons Super Bowl, then got a little dicey. What were your thoughts?
So I knew the first series was going to be scripted, like most series are in college or NFL. You get to watch that 9-minute drive that Leonard put together. That was pretty impressive. Although all they did was run him up the middle pretty much. I think he got like 30 yards and 8 or 9 carries on that first drive, which is, fine. We bounced back pretty quickly, and then I felt really, really good. We started doing what we've done in the playoffs, just open space, hitting people open. If they played man, somebody was open, and not necessarily Jeremiah. We've got so many other weapons, so they utilize them really well. So that made me feel good. I was like, all right, domination, time to put them away. Then we got too conservative. We started playing just like we did against Michigan, like trying to keep the lead and not lose the game kind of type deal. So that drove me crazy. I was like, I mean, we're literally giving the game away, is how I felt. And then, finally they made it happen. But it got a lot closer than what I wanted it to be. But they still covered, which was great. So I had a little money on that. But all in all, credit to Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman too. I mean, they just don't give up. I love Marcus Freeman. He's such a great coach. And I know we'll get into him next segment, but props to him, props to Notre Dame team and what they've done in these last 3 years under him.
Yeah. Well, and before we get into how great of a job he's done, Tom, let me ask you two questions. One, as a Michigan fan, what was it like seeing Ohio State win this thing? And to talk that first. And then secondly, that field goal decision, was the result – was it a results-based business, or do you think Freeman made the mistake there going for the field goal? But first, I want to hear about the emotional side.
As a Michigan fan, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of bittersweet for me as a fan, because I look at it, you never want your rival to win it. But then you look at, with my situation, my dad's born and raised in Ohio, lifelong Buckeye. So I kind of put myself in his shoes. I put myself in Brandon's shoes. Like, I know the excitement that they're experiencing, especially, Brandon going.
Wait, are y'all going all SEC on us now? Is it?
No. I mean, I think if it was any other team, I probably would have different opinions. But, I emotionally attached with my dad, and knowing that, going back to days when I was a kid, like his Saturday was determined on, how the Buckeyes did that day. So, I felt like, even though as I'm not a fan, I still can kind of feel his joy. And like I said, with Brandon, knowing that he's, him and his family, going to games and traveling and all that good stuff. So in a sense, it's bittersweet. I also look at it as Michigan won last year. I can't be greedy. It's only been a year, and I think the prognosis of their successes, moving into the futures is pretty high. So it was, we'll just say it was good to keep it in the Big Ten where it belongs. So.
All right, and to the second part of that question.
Yeah, I've got my brother-in-law, Bill. He's a Notre Dame grad, and he was actually at the game when they decided to go for that field goal. He was like, I don't understand this, because it was a 2-possession game. The field goal really isn't going to matter one way or the other if they hit it. And man, did they miss it bad. And so it made that decision even more questionable. So I think, given the chance to do it all over again, I think Freeman probably would have said, you know what? We get that 3 points. It doesn't matter. Getting that touchdown means more. I think he would have probably gone for it. So maybe a lack of judgment at that moment, but you do it all over again. You Dan Gamble it. I think he would, especially looking at the fact that they only lost by a touchdown. So given to do it over, I think he probably would have.
Well, and you're seeing that not only in college, but in the NFL. Like these coaches are such a slave to this algorithm, and it's like
analytics.
Yeah, it's like, hey man, like, have you ever played Madden? Like, don't do that. Or college football, wherever you want to play.
Yeah. Well, they pop it on the screen. They're like 4th and 2. Analytics says go. It's so. I mean, it's just it's kind of a niche thing going on now. It's kind of the popular thing to go for it on 4th, and you're seeing it if you get at midfield, or you get within like the 30 to the 40 yard range. They're going for it just outside the field goal range. So, but I think there's a lot more teams that trust their offense and they know field goals aren't going to cut it.
So Brandon, let me ask you this, because this is the topic that fascinates me. Ryan Day went from almost ready to be fired.
Mm-hmm.
Knoxville, Ohio State fans not showing up for the first round of the playoffs, to now winning a national title. But I still don't think he has much leverage because I don't think anyone's. I don't think NFL team is coming for him. I'm not sure where he's going to go. What do you think the contract situation is going to look like? I mean, I wrote on our notes, like, is it a 7-year extension? Or is it just a status quo? You got to keep. I don't. Am I wrong? Is anyone poaching him, or do he just have the best roster?
No, no one's poaching him. Let me start with this. And after that loss, that devastating loss, maybe the worst loss in Ohio State history against Michigan, when we were 19.5-point favorites. I mean, emotions were high after that, and people were pissed, myself included. And we were all screaming for, like, fire him. It's his fourth loss, blah, 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 blah. And look, like I said, I'll eat crow. I was guilty of that as well. And I wanted him gone immediately. But, high emotions, you got to sit back and take a step. And what he did, I mean, I was nervous about the UT game. I really was. I didn't know if we showed up like that, like, you guys would have dominated us. But what he did to turn that team around and how they really came together and to make it through this gauntlet, which was by far the hardest road path to the championship, was impressive. And to win a national championship, I mean, his winning percentage is in the top 3 in college history or something. I mean, there's no
70-10 now.
Yeah, I mean, he can do what he wants there. Like, he will get an extension if he wants to stay. I don't see why he wouldn't. I think he's got one thing left on his plate, and we all know what that is. But now he's in this. He's one of 3 coaches active that have won a national championship right now.
Well, we're going to get a deeper dive into this in a little bit, but you brought up a great point. I want to address it while you talked about it. He's got a bigger thing on his plate, and this is what the college football playoff now has done. Is Ohio State Michigan diminished?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe in public's eyes, but if you're a fan of either of those teams, I mean, there's no way you can take that away. And that's why, you see the media talking about this hump you got to get over as fans. Like, you can't, but you don't understand. Like, it's just ingrained in you since you were born as a fan. Like, that is just it. And yes, I would rather win a national championship, but I mean, just a slight hair below that is beating the team up north, right? And those are your 2 goals as one of those teams. And yeah, he's still got to do it, in my opinion. Like, he's one of the best coaches we've had at Ohio State. Don't get me wrong. And he'll go down in history, won a national championship for sure. He'll be a staple there. But as a fan, and he knows this, he knows what he signed up for, and he even says that. That's why he took it so well. There's that blemish. Like, he knows what he's got to get done. So hopefully we can do that next year.
Tom, on the flip side of that game, Marcus Freeman, Kelly from LSU left Notre Dame saying, I got to go somewhere with the resources to win a championship. Marcus Freeman showed you can play for a championship at Notre Dame. Do you think NFL teams come after him? He's 39 years old.
I don't think there's...
Which is very similar to what Tomlin was, I think, when he took the Pittsburgh job.
I think absolutely. 100%. And you saw the Bears were interested in interviewing with him. He is a leader of men. That seems to be the new buzzword when you're talking about coaching candidates. I think, I go back to Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell has become kind of the blueprint with when a lot of NFL teams are looking to find.
I agree.
Maybe not the best X and O guy, but somebody that's gonna, get in that locker room, take control, and get the best out of his players. And you look at what Campbell's been able to do here. And then Aaron Glenn is an offshoot of Campbell. He goes to the Jets. So I do think that Marcus Freeman is that type of a coach. He's maybe not the best X and O coach, but just based on how he got that job at Notre Dame, those players were like, we want him. He's our guy. And there's a video that went viral when they told the team that he got the head coaching position, and those players went crazy. And that just tells you the respect level that he demands and he gets from his players. And I think he'd be a perfect fit for the NFL. Young, motivating. When he talks, everyone listens. And I know Notre Dame just extended him, but NFL is the king of all kings. And if
do you think he would leave?
I do. I think it would take Notre Dame maybe winning a national championship to get him to maybe cross over. I see him as a coach.
There's a certain team where Brandon lives that I would love to inquire about his availability.
Maybe the Titans. Yeah. That they need to revamp that whole organization. But yeah, I mean, I think he's the type of guy that wants to see something through. And he's got something huge brewing in Notre Dame, and he's doing it different than everybody else. He's not really hitting the transfer portal hard, and kids are going to Notre Dame because they want to. So he's a little bit of a unicorn when it comes to that. But give it 2, maybe 3 years. He still will be young. He'll have more experience under his belt. I do think he'll end up in the NFL.
Yeah. All right. So we are 1 year. Oh, Randall with shots fired in fantasy football. So we are 1 year into this, the college football playoff, 12 teams. I want you guys to get a love, like, dislike, or hate rating on this thing. Brandon, I assume you're going to go love. Tom, I want to start with you. What do you think of the first variation of the college football playoff?
I like 12 teams. I think this format is going to be revamped. I don't love the competition level that I saw specifically in the second round games with all the bye teams losing. So I do think they'll address that after next season. So I like the 12-team format. I think that takes any question of did this team deserve to play in the championship, or that kind of hushes all that. But they need to get that right. They need to figure out a way to make sure that the best teams are playing at the end of the day. And I think that'll happen in a couple years.
Shane, I'll go to you because I got a lot to say about this. So, Shane, what do you think? Love, like, dislike, hate?
Yeah, so I love the 12 teams. I think that's fine. I think the revamp that Tom is talking about needs to be the criteria to get in, not necessarily winning a conference championship or whatever. I think strength of schedule has to play a factor, a huge factor. I think the eye test really needs to play a factor, which I don't know if they'll ever go to that because it's so subjective, but it's pretty obvious when you get a collective group, like majority of people can see right or wrong on a team. So hopefully they can figure that out. And also the seeding, like Oregon got screwed. The Vols got screwed. Like Oregon had the toughest bracket. Like I said, whoever came, Tennessee, Oregon, I mean, we were all in that same kind of line bracket. Like that was the toughest bracket to come out of.
Well, we all called it. We called it.
Whoever comes out of that bracket is going to win it.
Like,
Penn State loses the Big Ten championship game, and I felt like they had the easiest path to get into.
Texas had close, but yeah, until they had to face us. But I mean, they had an easy path to us, relatively speaking. Georgia, not so much. I mean, but then again, like we said, all the bye teams lost. So again, what we talked about, momentum and playing, just kind of like the wild card in baseball. Like you get in, you start getting hot. I mean, that prevailed. So
yeah. Well, yeah. As a I was in Knoxville last night. As a college basketball fan, you give me a home game to start, I will take that 100 times out of 100 over a bye. Let me get the players playing in a comfortable environment going. So, on those four things, I'm at a dislike for this reason. I like the concept of it. I hated the scheduling. I think they played them the week before Christmas was a bad idea. Playing them New Year's Eve, playing one game New Year's Eve is a bad idea. And getting into the NFL the divisional rounds was a bad idea.
It drug out way too long.
PTI on Monday, the college football championship was in the B block. And that's not ESPN bias. That is they have statistical research. That's what people care about. And so it's letting college football's championship get swallowed up. Yeah. And so I don't know what the solution is. I would say if you're going to play, I'd say get rid of the championship games.
Well, because now, I mean, how much merit do those really have when 12 teams get
absolutely zero? If the committee says
it's more advantageous to not go play in that and get in, and then take your chances there.
I think having, and you look at the way that the bye teams played, they were completely flat, because it was almost a month, or it was longer than a month when they played these games.
Well, the championship game was with two teams that didn't play in the conference championship game.
Yeah. The playoff games need to start 2 weeks prior to what they did this year. That way, the bye teams, if there's going to be bye games, then the competition levels will be a little bit higher, because by the time those teams that were in the bye played, they didn't play for over a month. And now you're playing against a team that just played the week prior. They were a little more fresh and ready to go. They had that momentum that Brandon talked about.
The championship game should be on New Year's Day if possible.
Right.
If not,
in Pasadena.
The Monday night after the NFL
wild card
finishes I say finishes their season, because they don't have Monday Night Football the last week.
That's true.
Finish that season on Sunday. College football Monday night. Monday Night Football.
I like it.
If you're going to play it on Monday, play it that Monday, because you're already in that habit of watching for Monday Night Football.
Take 1 week off after the conference championships, and then get right to it. And I think your competition level will be a lot better.
Because, guys, I don't think the bowls and the playoffs can coexist.
Did anyone else watch another bowl game aside from the college playoffs? I didn't. I didn't even know when they were playing.
Nope. Didn't care.
I mean, they played one or two a night, Tuesday through Friday, and I didn't know when they were playing. Nor did I care.
So I live in the South. I could not tell you what bowl game Alabama played in, and that would be unthinkable 2 years ago.
They played in the ReliaQuest Bowl against who?
Oh, Michigan.
Michigan.
Oh, okay. And that was it was in Florida somewhere.
That was in Tampa. And Barry, our good buddy Barry James, was a bad day because his Bama boys lost to the boys in blue back to back years. They started, interesting fact, Michigan started the New Year's beating Alabama, and they ended 2024 beating Alabama. So yeah, they bookend their ass.
All right, so we're gonna keep college to 30 minutes. So I want to get to this next point. Next year's same format's gonna be set as for better or for worse. What does 2026 look like? College football playoff. Brandon, what do you think it looks like?
I think there's going to be some adjustments for sure. I think there's too many complaints. And I don't think they're tied down necessarily to this certain format. I think they can make adjustments as they go because this is all new. And the way they did it last year, I think they are committed, from what I heard, to the same kind of format with the championships and the buys and all that stuff this year. But that could potentially change if you get two bad eggs in a row like that, where the seedings are just incorrect and the buy times and the buy people are losing every game. I think there has to be adjustments. So,
yeah, Tom, what do you think?
I think they're going to add 2 teams. 2 to 4 teams. I think they'll start with 2 because I've heard grumblings they want to end up being a 16-team format, and I think that's a huge mistake.
That is terrible.
And then what I can see happening is, okay, you get in, you win your conference championship, you get in. And then once the 12 teams are set, everything gets reseeded. They sort of do like a BCS style type of ranking, to where, like Brandon said, strength of schedule absolutely should matter. If you're playing the toughest competition, that should matter. If you're playing cupcakes, it should go against you. So I can see it to where just because you win your championship game doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get that at large, that top 4. I can see it to where it gets you in, but we're going to determine whether or not you should be a bye team or not. So I also can see them doing away with the bye at some point, based on when maybe the playoff would start. But I think looking at how they happened this year with SMU getting a bye, Boise getting a bye, even though Boise was competitive, I do think looking at the bigger picture, they didn't deserve to be part of that top 4. So I think they're going to address that. Definitely a possible reseeding, because you're right, Robbie. It was a disaster. The second round games were complete disasters. Only one of those teams were favored in the game, and all 4 of them lost. So they can't have that. The NCAA can't have that.
Well, and so, the games, I'm curious to see the ratings when they all come out. My guess is they're going to be lower than what ESPN and TNT or whoever had it was expecting. My thing is what they're going to. My thoughts are they're going to try to expand it to 16. But you're inherently going to go against the NFL, and I don't know if this is good for business for college football, and so that's what I worry about. Is college football getting lost in the shuffle? It's still the second biggest sport in America, but you're still barking up the wrong tree.
College football is shooting themselves in the foot by themselves with this whole NIL ordeal and just the chaos, and schools spending XYZ and other schools can't. So it's really not college anymore. So I think in that regard, college is really up against the 8 ball as it is.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's talk about
NFL. Right on the dot, Robbie. 30 minutes exactly. Good job.
Hey, I tried.
It's almost like you're an attorney or something.
It's talent. Hey, I don't let anything go over 10 minutes.
You hear his closing arguments.
Yeah.
Oh.
So NFL playoffs. Tom, I hate to start with you, but the Lions' magical season, home playoff game, Ford Field, electric, rookie quarterback coming in. Commanders. I guess what happened and how'd you feel?
What happened was they ran into a buzzsaw in Jaden Daniels, he is not your average rookie. I mean, what did he have? 70 starts under his belt collegiately, which, that I think that really bodes well for his confidence. He's played in big games, but his confidence level is like anything I've ever seen. It's amazing, but I don't like to make excuses, but let's look at the facts. When you have 16 players on the defensive side of the ball on the IR with the Lions, they've been playing with house money most of the season. The fact that they finished 15-2 is remarkable. I think that has a lot to do with coaching and culture, which we just lost three of our coaches in the last 24 hours. So that'll be interesting. But Brandon talked about momentum earlier. I think that is absolutely a thing. They've been playing playoff football for probably the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season, Washington, and make no mistake, that's a good football team. Outside of their dead last in the league in rushing, in which the Lions put up 165 on the ground in the first half, but yet seemed to kind of shy away from that in the second half. But that's a good football team, and I don't think anybody, even Vegas, gave them the credit that they deserved. And being in Ford Field, watching that unfold, it was a gut punch. There's 2 other instances in my life as a Detroit fan where I felt worse, and that was the 2005 NBA Finals in Game 6 when Robert Horry was left wide open for a 3. Rasheed Wallace decided to double the inbound guy, and Horry hits a 3, wins the game. And the 2009 NHL Finals, Game 7 against the Penguins, they lost 2-1, the Red Wings, and they were supposed to go back to back. So those were 2 huge gut punches. I compare that to this one, but I will say some of our players seem to get kind of cocky. I'd be the first to admit it. I felt like their confidence level was a little higher the week leading up than it was any normal week. So were they prepared? I'm sure they were prepared, but I don't think they expected to get the effort, we'll say, Washington gave them. And Detroit was in the game a good portion of it. It's just when they needed to make a defensive stop, they couldn't. Their lack of depth, I think, finally caught up to them. You had 4 guys on the football field that were practice squad guys on other teams. That doesn't bode well for success. And like I said, the fact that they got to where they were was remarkable enough, and the offense carried them. But questionable play calling, and I'm not going to bash Ben Johnson, who just left for the Bears, but there was a little overconfidence offensively. I think they were calling plays that they would normally run up by 3 touchdowns instead of down by 10 in the fourth quarter. So it wasn't our day. I don't want to make excuses. I'm still damn proud of that football team, but needless to say, moving on, it's a tough pill to swallow watching these teams compete for the Super Bowl the next couple weeks. So, but it's something definitely I'll be expecting we'll be right back in the mix next year.
Well, I'm going to circle back to you on Ben Johnson, but I want to talk to Brandon about first. Like, Brandon, you and I have watched the Titans lose the Super Bowl by a yard. We have seen them lose the AFC Championship to the Raiders. We have seen them lose the AFC Championship to the Chiefs. I think there may be one more, maybe the Colts in there at one point. The Titans, as much of a dumpster fire as they are now, they were the Detroit Lions for a bit on the precipice of a championship. We never got there, and that window closed, and now we're back in the basement. What do you think about the Lions and how it looks losing both their offensive coordinator and their defensive coordinator today?
It's a tough blow for Campbell for sure, because ultimately everything falls on him and his shoulders and what he can do. I know these coaches are aware of that. When you sign a hot guy and a really good coach, offensive or defensive coordinator, people are going to be fishing. This is the turnover league. I mean, it really is. There's constant turnover, and that's what happens. That's what happened to what's our guy? It's the Packers head coach now.
LaFleur.
Yeah, LaFleur. He had 1 year. The Titans did phenomenal, and then he's a head coach. So that happens, but that also says something about the people that your head coach wants to hire. He's got good taste in that and can read people well. So I think they'll be okay right now. Dan Campbell, what Tom said, his culture there, what he's built, it's been pretty impressive. It really has. Now, there's a lot of adversity there with the injuries, and now the coach is moving. So we'll see if he can battle back through that. But I'd love for Dan Campbell to win a Super Bowl. He's just seems like a good person all around. So rooting for him, but you never know. It's the NFL, and it's what have you done for me lately?
Mm-hmm.
Not for long, yes.
Not for long. Yep.
Tom, what do you think about the Super Bowl window? Open still?
Oh, I think it's absolutely open. The core of this team, the Penei Sewells, the Amon-Ra, Goff, Montgomery, these guys are signed. They're signed for a while. And then you look at the pieces that haven't been there. Aiden Hutchinson, Aleem McNeil, Rodrigo at linebacker. You lose Carlton Davis. You lose Amik Robinson. The probably half of your big time starters on that defensive front. Marcus Davenport played 3 games this year, so these guys are all coming back. I think Davenport won't be back, but the bulk of those guys will be coming back, and they're going to be hungry. Starting with Aiden Hutchinson. So when you have those pieces, you always have hope. And you look at, there's talk about, maybe bringing Robert Saleh in to replace Aaron Glenn. That would be massive. What he was able to do in San Francisco as their defensive coordinator was unbelievable. They got to a Super Bowl. So there's going to be a line of coaches that want to come here solely based on A, Dan Campbell, and B, the pieces that they have. So I think the window is still open. And of course, we've got the draft coming up and free agency. So they looked hard and heavy 2 years ago on what they needed, and they addressed it. And I think they'll do the same this year. But it's tough. And I think my final words, I'll go a little more depth in, but the fans around here are a little butthurt, I'll say, that Ben Johnson chose to go in division. And I think that's asinine to think that way, because like Brandon said,
he's getting paid in the teens,
13 million they gave him to go.
For a first-time head coach. That's bank.
And the Lions were going to offer him 3 to stay.
You can't be mad at that. All these people that are talking crap, you put yourself in those shoes. There's no way.
Sure.
You couldn't take that.
And one thing you have to look at, and these fans have to look at, is look at what Ben Johnson had to work with here. Does he have that in Chicago? I don't know. It'll be tough. I think it's going to be.
I think he needs another quarterback, but
I think it's going to be a uphill climb, not only with that roster, but with that fan base, that city.
All right, you're timed out. Okay, let's move on to the next. We don't care about the Lions that much. All right, so the other game in the AFC, the fantastic finish in the Bills and the Ravens game. Guys, Lamar again, and like it is. I don't like it. I'm not going to say it's all on a quarterback because it's not. But these quarterbacks are stacked against each other. Is Lamar just like Patrick Ewing, Reggie Miller, Dominic Wilkins? Is he just in this bad era of like you got Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen? Like you're just in a bad time, Brandon?
I mean, maybe. I've never thought of it that way, but that's a really good point because he's so electric. He's so good. And he started out in this league nothing but a running quarterback, right? And then developed his arm even more. He's been in the MVP conversation since I can remember.
Yeah.
And then he just can't get over and it wasn't, I mean, there's probably a handful of plays, 3 to 5 plays there. The turnover that he had, the drop pass by Andrews. I mean, that was the difference in that game. And he knows that, and he was pissed about it. And he stood up for Mark, but God, man, it sucks for him because I think he might be. That's a really good point. He just might be in the wrong era right now to where you're always going to be like third or fourth. Like you'll never get up there.
That's what I thought. I mean, like it's absurd that to think that someone could catch Brady, but Mahomes very well may. And like that's mind-blowing that it's even possible. Like Montana had 4, Brady has 7. And that gap, and then Josh Allen's there, and that's just the
Allen won a Super Bowl.
No.
Which is crazy.
Allen's in the same path
this year.
Same thing as Lamar is. Like you're just in the wrong time.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like it's insane.
Tom, what do you think? Like, is Lamar just in the wrong time? Is he over? Is the regular season overrated, or just what's going on with the Ravens?
I think he's gonna get there. I really do. You look at he's lost his number 1 receiver during the last week of the season, meaningless football. He gets a knee injury, but I think there's such a cloud over Lamar's head that he can't do it in the playoffs. And for whatever reason, I think he wears that. I think it weighs in on him, and he tries to force a lot of things. Take, for example, the second drive they had where he threw that interception. He overthrew Bateman by about 15 yards. He tried to do too much, but he was able to get them in a position to, at least tie it. But the sure-handed Mark Andrews, who fumbles the ball and then drops the 2-point conversion, I think he was right at the doorstep. I do think he'll get there because one thing he did this year, 47 touchdown passes, 4,300 yards passing, rushed for over 800. There isn't a quarterback that can do that right now. So I do think he'll get there. It's just a tougher road for him. But I think Patrick Mahomes' kind of era might be coming to an end, specifically Sunday. But I do think Lamar will end up getting.
All right. So let me ask you this: is Lamar more Aaron Rodgers or Peyton Manning? Does he win 1 or does he win 2?
Nah, I think he wins 1. I think it's going to take him a while to get 1.
Brandon, does he win 1 or 2 or 0?
I think 0. I don't think Lamar wins 1. I don't. I think they've got one more good run at it, and then the whole team's going to start changing and pieces are moving around. Who knows how long Harbaugh's still going to be there.
This was his best chance with Derrick Henry this year.
Yeah,
sure.
I think you're right. It weighs on Dake.
It was the most dynamic offense they've had since he's been there.
Yeah,
he wasn't the guy.
And
on the ground.
Look at, they were moving the ball every every time. And I mean, they had no trouble doing that. It was the turnovers that got them and the drop balls. And
this weekend made me realize how great the Patriots were, where all the AFC teams were in the snow. The Patriots never fumbled. They those things of not making mistakes made Belichick great and how he coached his teams. All right, let's go, Tom. We're going to start with you with the NFC game you hope you were going to be at. Give a little preview. You got the Commanders, the rookie sensation against Jalen Hurts and all those weapons, Saquon, AJ, Devontae, the best offensive line in football, Carter, I don't understand how Eagles got this much talent, but what do you think? What do you think about this game?
I think it comes down to, can Washington stop the run? Statistically, they're dead last in the NFL, so that does not bode well for them. Like I said, Detroit ran roughshod over them in the first half of that divisional game. So I don't really believe that Jalen Hurts can win with his arm. He's been sort of a liability the last 4 weeks of the season. I think all the talk was, A.J. Brown talking about the passing game needs to get better. The passing game needs to get better. I don't trust Jalen Hurts throwing the football to have success. I think their success comes on the heels of Saquon Barkley running the ball. He rushed for $196 last week against the Rams, broke like 2 runs of 60-plus yards. So I think it's really going to come down to, can Washington find a way to contain Saquon? And on the flip side, I think it's just keep doing what you're doing. When you force Jaden out of the pocket, he's going to get you with his legs. And Hurts can do the same thing, but he's been injured a lot lately. So how does that going to affect his ability running out of the pocket? So, and if you key on Jaden Daniels to, run the ball, if you spy on him, he'll pick you apart back there throwing the football because they have weapons. So I think this comes down to who's got the ball last. I really do. I think this could be a field goal game. Unfortunately, Washington's field goal kicker isn't the best. They're on their 5th one of the season. So really, I can see this thing going both ways. I would love to see Washington pull this out, but I do see Philly coming through with a winning by 3 based on it being, in Philadelphia. I think those fans are give them that advantage.
Brandon, what do you think?
I think if Philly wins, it's definitely not Hurts that does it. He's been kind of I'd say, chink in the armor in these playoff games for them the last few years. Saquon has been a huge addition, and yeah, if they have any chance of winning it, I think he needs 150 plus. But man, Daniels on the other side, I wouldn't bet against that dude right now. I mean, he's playing better than any quarterback.
Did Roethlisberger make it the Super Bowl his rookie year?
I don't think
no.
so.
I think Jaden Daniels would be the first quarterback, rookie to be Super Bowl.
Roethlisberger didn't win it. I think he made it there though. I
don't know if he made it to the Super Bowl his first year. Maybe
Marino did. Marino made it to the Super Bowl first.
Yeah. Regardless, Daniels is a freak, and everyone's underestimated him the whole year, including myself. But when he came out of that Lions game, again, it's just
never started. A rookie's never started a Super Bowl game. Started or won a.
Marino didn't.
Nope.
Oh.
Brock Purdy reached the NFC Championship game with the 49ers, but lost in the NFC. Jaden Daniels. So Jaden Daniels would, if they make it to the Super Bowl, he'd be the first starting quarterback as a rookie.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be one of the best quarterback rookie seasons, we've seen, right? In NFL.
Oh, yeah. Oh, by far.
I
mean, you look at Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck, and they were disasters.
Well, and I'd say Robert Griffin actually had a really good rookie season. Yeah. I don't think they made it to the playoffs, but overall, his rookie season was great. CJ Stroud last year was great, but nothing compared to what Daniels has done.
Yeah, well, yeah. CJ Stroud played in the NFC South or AFC South, which is
I know, which is crazy. But I'm just saying, Daniels, I still think has had a better sellout.
I think I'm going towards Washington this just because I think Hurts's hamstring is hurt worse than we think it is. Because at the end of the game, they didn't go to the what's that?
It was his knee. His knee got bent back.
They didn't go to the tush push late in the game, which leads me to believe they like their doctors were like, "Hey, there's something wrong." So I think Washington wins that game. And I think Jay Daniels goes to the Super Bowl. On the AFC side, we have Chiefs and Bills. The ultimate what we think we've been building up for all year long. Who wants to go first with your predictions and your breakdown?
I'll go.
Okay.
It's a tough one. My wife's family is from Kansas City. They're kind of my second team. It's actually Gabby's favorite team because of the debacle she's seen the last few years growing up watching the Titans. Who to blame her?
Yeah, smart.
Yeah, right. So I'd really like to see the Chiefs three-peat. I mean, first team in the NFL, it would be awesome. But it's going to be tough. I think Allen's hungry. He's been there before. He lost in overtime by a coin flip. It's going to be a battle, but I got to go with the Chiefs.
Tom, what do you think?
I think this comes down to
I'm looking up the spreads right now.
Josh Allen.
-2 Chiefs
has made
-2 the Chiefs.
Wow. That's I think it could even drop further before the game. You look at what the Bills have been kind of like really focusing on. James Cook has been outstanding. The last few weeks of the NFL season during the playoffs, James Cook has been kind of like their catalyst.
He's
and
it's open. Robbie, by the
What's
way.
that?
I was telling Robbie he's a running back. Robbie doesn't.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He doesn't like running backs.
Saquon is kind of shooting me in the foot on that one.
So he's been the catalyst. In one thing Josh Allen hasn't done that he's usually has done in years past is turning the ball over. He's been very consistent with making good decisions. He's a dynamic runner, and he's been doing that a lot more often. And man, he's not afraid to take a hit when he needs to get that yard. He gets it. I just think this is the year that Josh Allen, finds a way, and it's really I don't trust the offense of Kansas City. They have been getting by. I think their point differential was 5 from their for the season, which was, I think it was the lowest in NFL history for a team that won the conference. So offensively, they've been very, very suspect. And I think Buffalo does a lot up front. They do a lot of blitzing. And I just think they're going to give a lot of issues to Patrick Mahomes. And as long as they can't get those mysterious, auspicious penalty flags thrown at inopportune times, I think Buffalo will find a way to win, because we all know that the refs have already called the roughing the passer penalty on Russo on Patrick Mahomes. So Give me Buffalo. Give me Buffalo by 10. I think Buffalo easily wins this game.
Kansas City.
Take the Taylor Swift out of it. Take Taylor Swift out of it.
Hey,
take that away.
She flew back to Nashville to leave him alone to concentrate on football. According to her private jet tracker on Reddit.
It's on your homepage.
Real credible reporting here of us journalists that are on this band.
A little bit of a stalker-esque.
Yeah, but no. I think Buffalo's going to win. I think they're better. I think they got more weapons. But, man, as long as you got number 15 back there, I can't bet against him. I just can't. Like that leading down throw pass to Kelsey, he's better than everybody else. He's better than anyone who's ever done his job in the history of the world. So, I gotta take Kansas City. There's no rhyme or reason besides that just I'll take him. It's the Jordan, it's the LeBron, it's the Tiger, if they're out there, I'll take them over everyone else.
I gotta go with my Lake Erie brethren. We gotta stay strong. Go Buffalo.
All right, so now we have broken down everything. We have talked about everything. Now it's time to make you guys some money, some real hard.
It's time for Bet Your Nuts.
Well, everyone, get ready to get rich. I've gone last on almost everything, so I will go first on this one. I am telling you almost a guarantee, but it's not a guarantee, but almost. A parlay, Washington +6 and the under in the Chiefs Bills game, 47.5. So you parlay those guys, I'd bet, $3,000 or $4,000. That will pay about $7,000, $8,000. You're in the money.
Wow. That's
that's as free money as it gets.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Is that paying for Dega?
Oh, by the way, is Jen watching? Jen, I hope she knows she's in for a good time with Dega.
She's on vacation. She's not watching us bums.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna go with a 4-leg parlay.
Oh,
anytime touchdown score.
Disclaimer. This will not hit. Do not bet your nuts on this.
Hey, I hit for 200 last week. So okay. And I don't gamble much, but when I do,
table once.
I don't always gamble, but when I do, you know what I mean? I've got Saquon Barkley, Terry McLaurin, Taylor Swift Sr., and Josh Allen, anytime touchdown score on DraftKings right now. That's plus 1302. My poor broke ass only put $5 on it. That would win me 70. So, Barkley, McLaurin, Kelsey, and Josh Allen, anytime touchdown, plus 1302.
Hey, real quick, I do have +3 Taylor Swift views at the Super Bowl. They're gonna make it. And she's gonna be there.
She's gonna be there to watch Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Will Caitlin Clark be with her? That's the other question.
Brandon, what do you got?
Like I was talking about, and like you said, you can't go against Mahomes. I've got the Chiefs -2. It's -110 right now, so 100 to win 90. Take that. That's easy money. That's free money. They're not losing this game. I mean, as long as Mahomes is back there, he has not proved you wrong, and you cannot bet against this guy.
I like it. All right. Final thoughts as we Maybe not. Can
You can keep talking. There's no audio. You can.
Okay.
We've only done this 3,000 times.
Yeah, Tom's all these fancy gimmicks. So final thoughts. We go into the championship weekend. Tom, we'll start with you. What's your final thought?
Well, my final thoughts is Detroit Lions fans very dissatisfied with them leaving Ford Field, watching social media, listening to local radio. These people were jumping off the ship as like it was on fire. I was embarrassed as a fan. People calling for Dan Campbell to be fired. People calling for Jared Goff to get traded. The Detroit fan base.
Dan Campbell to get fired?
Oh, it was unbelievable. The Detroit fan base, as much as they are supportive, you see them when the Lions go on the road, they take over stadiums, they suck. They absolutely suck. And back to what we were talking about earlier, people throwing a hissy fit about Ben Johnson going to the Bears. It's business. He looked at what he saw in Caleb Williams. That's where he wanted to go. He earned it. He did great things in Detroit. He built his resume. He deserved to go to wherever he wanted to go, and he wanted to go to Chicago. You know what? In division or not, go beat him. As a Lions fan, go beat him. And you know Dan Campbell's going to have those two dates next year schedule circled because he wants to beat his guy. So I think the long and short of it is Detroit fans, I love them, but man, they suck. They forget the 0-16 years. They forget the times at Silverdome when we were in dead last. And when Sunday watching was an embarrassment. You never wanted to watch them play. And now they're at the top of their craft on the precipice of, getting to a Super Bowl at some point here very soon. And you want to bail out on them. So my advice to these fans that have jumped ship, stay off. And next year when we're right back where we need to be, we don't want you because you don't deserve to be a part of this franchise anymore because you bailed on when they were down low. We don't want you when we're up high. Get bent.
I actually
love it.
I wasn't
a little emotion there, baby. Love it.
I'm telling you, I was so fired up listening to these and the SOL, the same old Lion chants were coming out. And I just it's wrong and they should be ashamed of themselves because they are not SOL.
Yeah. Well, Tom, I had a whole different direction I was going to go in, but I'm going to piggyback on you and your frustration because I get it yearly. As most of our viewers know, I'm a season ticket Tennessee basketball holder. I go to every basketball game. We win 89% of our games. And it's like, oh, yeah, like I never see us lose. But yeah, we get to March and that one game tournament is a fucking fluke. And yeah, ball bounces and you lose and oh, your season's disappointment. No, it's not. Only one team can win. And so you have to take a step back and appreciate the character people build, the quality of teams that they build, and enjoy the whole process as opposed to the just win at all costs, or you either win or you lose, and that's it. And so it's like everyone take a step back, enjoy the ride, because you can go 16-1 or 19-1 or 18-1, wherever the Patriots went, and still lose, but you had the best season in NFL history. Like, so just everyone calm down, enjoy what you're watching, and take it in and just be like, don't take it for granted. Be happy. Not all sports are meant to be so angry and just petty. Right into you.
Well said. Well said. I'm going to congratulate my Buckeyes on
self-serving guy comes in.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to get this off my chest here. Things were dark after that Michigan game. Yeah, and I think that was the best thing that could have happened to this team. was to get punched in the mouth when you're a 19.5-point favorite, going into that gauntlet of a playoff. And they did. They turned it around. So kudos to them. Proud to be a Buckeye. Proud of the team and the camaraderie there. You know, people don't know we did spend $20 million or whatever on the roster, but it was not mostly in the transfer portal. I mean, we got Will Howard, we got Caleb Downs, and maybe a couple other offensive and defensive players. The rest of those guys, we paid money to keep them because those coaches developed that team and they wanted to stay. So there's that when people talk about transfer and all that. So that was actually, and the kudos to Notre Dame, they kind of did the same thing. They built from within. They didn't do a lot of transfer stuff either. So
and sorry, congrats to Ohio State. That was a hell of a playoff run.
Oh, it was, man. And like I said, to Notre Dame, what Marcus Freeman's done there, he obviously was a former Buckeye, so felt like he was properly trained, you know, for the position. But no, kudos to them, Notre Dame, all of them. It was a great playoff to watch, and you know, maybe this NIL thing, if they can calm down the transfers so often, and at least wait till after all these playoffs are done, I think it evens the playing field for a lot of teams, and some teams that shouldn't have been there were there because of that. So,
all right. Any other, Tom? You got something to say? Are you good? All right. Well,
looking forward to this weekend. Even though the Lions aren't there, it's still.
This is
one of the
best weekend in football.
Yep, absolutely.
It is the two best NFL games being played back to back. So I'm excited.
I got my Pistons. My Pistons are back. They beat your Atlanta Hawks tonight. So 2 over 500. They're back, baby. Got something to look forward to until Tiger season.
Yeah, NFL or NBA. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. We have Spotify, Facebook, Twitter, X, Apple,
YouTube,
TikTok, YouTube,
and no, what's the purple one?
That's Apple Podcast.
Oh, what's the music one?
That's TikTok.
Oh, TikTok. Well, yeah, there we go. I got them all.
TikTok.
TikTok.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching. Get rich, kids. Remember, Washington +6 and under.
I don't know what language that is.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll be hopefully next week. Tom, what's your work schedule?
Yep.
Tell the world.
Yep. Whenever you guys are ready.
We'll get it going.
We don't run schedule is 0. So
yeah. Next week, we'll see you.
Thanks for watching. See you guys later.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Reckless Speculation. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube searching Reckless Speculation. Catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for listening to another episode of Reckless Speculation. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube searching Reckless Speculation. Catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. We look forward to catching you right here next week with another exciting episode of Reckless Speculation. Cheers.